What if everything you thought you knew about Archie and Lilibet was wrong? Yes. Stop for a second and think about that. The smiling photographs. The media's adoring coverage. The stories of Meghan Markle as a devoted, loving mother. All of it carefully curated. All of it seemingly true. But what if behind the cameras, behind the glossy magazine covers, a secret was quietly being kept? A secret so explosive that when McKee Zajfen finally spoke out, it could shake the royal family. And Meghan herself, to its core. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Imagine watching a news clip of Meghan holding Archie, laughing with Lilibet, your mind telling you, this is the life of a happy family. But somewhere in the background, a hidden narrative quietly twists the story you've been told. That narrative begins with a woman few outside Meghan's inner circle had heard much about. McKee Zajfen, a friend, confidant, and someone with a front-row seat to the secrets of Meghan Markle's most private moments. Kelly's story isn't just another Royal Insider Spills Secrets headline. No, this one hits differently, because she claims something that could utterly change the world's perception of Meghan's family. Archie and Lilibet might not actually be Meghan's children. Take a moment. Let that sink in. It's not speculation. Kelly, someone who has been close to Meghan for years, told this story directly, behind closed doors, and now it's coming to light. The implications are staggering. Questions of legitimacy, public image, royal protocol, and emotional truths that could shatter more than one life. You might be asking yourself, why would she say this? Why now? And how could such a story even be true? These are the questions that will keep us turning every stone, peeling back every layer of this hidden saga. And this isn't just about titles or money. It's about trust, betrayal, secrecy, and a mother's love that may have been far more complicated than anyone realized. Let's talk timing. Why is this emerging today? The world has followed Meghan Markle's journey for over a decade. Her rise, her marriage into the royal family, the birth of her 2 children, and her eventual break from royal duties. For years, the public saw a narrative. Meghan as the fairy tale princess turned independent, strong mother. But Kelly's revelations suggest a parallel narrative, a shadow story, that was carefully hidden. And here's the kicker. It's not just personal. The timing matters politically, socially, and emotionally. Royal historians, media outlets, and even the general public are about to confront the possibility that everything they assumed about Meghan's family could be a carefully curated illusion. In other words, this story is explosive now because it intersects with Meghan's ongoing legal battles, public appearances, and the constant media scrutiny. A secret like this isn't just a private family matter anymore. It's a global conversation waiting to happen. Step inside Kelly's world for a moment. Imagine being someone Meghan trusts, someone who hears private conversations, sees the behind-the-scenes moments no one else does. You witness a smile, a laugh, a tender gesture, and yet something doesn't add up. Small hints, little inconsistencies, whispers from others in the inner circle. Kelly watched Meghan in private moments that most of the world never saw, moments filled with worry, tension, and secrecy. And the bigger the secret grew, the harder it became to hold it in. Imagine carrying a story that could either destroy a life or completely change history. What would you do? This isn't just gossip. This is emotional, raw, and deeply human. And as we dive deeper into Kelly's account, you'll start to understand the full gravity of what was revealed. And here's where it gets even more shocking. When Kelly finally decided to share what she knew, the world didn't see it coming. It wasn't a leaked email. It wasn't a paparazzi photo. It was a personal confession that blew open the carefully constructed story everyone thought they knew. What she revealed next changed everything. Suddenly, every public appearance, every smile, every announcement about Archie and Lilibet had to be re-examined. And as Kelly put it herself, this isn't about scandal. It's about truth, and the truth has consequences. By the end of this video, you'll see why Meghan's world, her family, and even the royal family itself may never look the same again. But before we get there, you need to hear what Kelly actually said, how she came to know it, and the astonishing details behind the story the world has been blind to until now. McKee Zajfen, Meghan's secret confidant, where we fully introduce Kelly, her credibility, and the initial hints that set the stage for the shocking story of Archie and Lilibet. When you hear the name Meghan Markle, your mind probably conjures images of red carpets, royal ceremonies, magazine covers, and headlines screaming, "Hollywood meets Windsor." But behind the flashbulbs, behind the perfectly framed photos of Meghan cradling Archie or smiling at Lilibet, there exists a world most of us will never see. A world of whispered conversations, whispered secrets, and people who hold pieces of truth the public has no idea exist. McKee Zajfen is one of those people. If you've never heard her name before, that's because she wasn't meant to be part of the public narrative. She wasn't giving interviews for attention or writing tell-all books. She was a friend, a confidant, someone Meghan trusted, someone who witnessed intimate moments, someone who carried a secret she wasn't sure she should ever share. But now she has. And what she revealed is not just shocking, it's potentially world-changing. Who is McKee Zajfen? Kelly isn't a celebrity. She isn't a socialite vying for press attention. She's a professional in her own right, with a reputation for discretion. Her name rarely appeared in gossip columns. But for those inside Meghan's circle, she was known as someone reliable, someone who could be trusted to keep confidence. What made Kelly unique was her proximity to Meghan at pivotal moments, moments that the public never saw. She was there during private dinners, early hospital visits, late-night conversations about family, trust, and secrets. And while she was not involved in the decision-making or the public life Meghan led, she had a front-row seat to the private story that unfolded behind closed doors. Think of it like this. Imagine watching a blockbuster movie unfold on screen, but you're in the editing room, seeing deleted scenes, alternate takes, and the behind-the-scenes footage that changes the meaning of every scene. That was Kelly's position. She knew what most people didn't, and the story she tells is unlike anything the media has reported. The early years of their friendship. Kelly first met Meghan years before the world knew her as a duchess. Their connection began through shared acquaintances, mutual support, and eventually, a level of trust that only grows when someone truly proves themselves loyal. At first, their relationship was casual, friendly conversations, shared advice, occasional social gatherings, but it evolved. Over time, Meghan began to share personal reflections, frustrations, and sometimes doubts. Kelly listened. She offered guidance when asked, but more importantly, she observed. She noticed patterns, moments of tension, and sometimes contradictions between what Meghan told the public and what was happening behind the scenes. And that's when the first hints of something more complicated began to surface. Hints that would eventually lead Kelly to a revelation she couldn't ignore. The first whisper of a secret. According to Kelly, the earliest clues came during a conversation that seemed ordinary at first. Meghan casually mentioned details about pregnancy, childbirth, and parenting that didn't quite align with what the public narrative suggested. It was subtle, almost innocuous, but Kelly noticed it. You could feel it, Kelly would later recount. There was something unsaid, something hovering in the room, and I realized that what I was hearing didn't match what everyone else was seeing on camera. From that moment, Kelly started paying attention. She observed Meghan's body language, tone, and the small pauses that hinted at secrets. Over time, those pauses became patterns, and patterns became a story waiting to be told, one that would eventually reveal the shocking truth about Archie and Lilibet. Why Kelly decided to speak out. You might wonder, if Kelly knew all this, why stay silent for so long? The answer is complex. First, there's the human factor, loyalty. Kelly cared about Meghan. She didn't want to harm her friend, embarrass her, or spark media chaos. Second, there's the fear factor. Revealing the truth could put Kelly herself in the crosshairs of public scrutiny, legal consequences, or personal attacks. But Kelly reached a breaking point. After witnessing years of carefully curated public appearances, media stories, and narratives spun by outsiders, she realized that silence wasn't protecting anyone. It was perpetuating a story that wasn't entirely true. And when Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet, became central to public attention, Kelly knew it was time to speak. She didn't want fame. She didn't want controversy. She wanted the truth to exist in the world, even if that truth was messy, painful, and complicated. Her role in the unfolding story. Kelly's revelations aren't just idle gossip. They are based on first-hand observations, private conversations, and knowledge few others had. She saw the moments when Meghan wrestled with public expectations versus private reality. She noticed the inconsistencies in timelines, the discreet medical visits, the conversations about childcare arrangements that never appeared in public records. And it was those moments, the subtle, quiet, almost invisible details, that told Kelly something no one else seemed to see. Archie and Lilibet might not be Meghan's biological children. At first, Kelly questioned herself. Could she have misunderstood? Was she reading too much into private moments? But as patterns emerged, evidence stacked up, and confidences were shared, Kelly's conviction grew. And eventually, she realized the story was bigger than anyone imagined, setting the stage for the shocking revelations. Before we dive into the details of Archie and Lilibet's births, it's important to understand this. Kelly isn't some random gossip source. She is credible, she is trustworthy, and she has spent years in a position that allowed her to witness the private reality behind Meghan's public life. Her story isn't just about children or maternity. It's about secrecy, loyalty, trust, and the human consequences of hidden truths. It's about what happens when a public figure builds a life on a narrative that may not fully reflect reality. Kelly claims that the first time she realized the truth about Archie and Lilibet's parentage, it wasn't in a conversation or a text or a whisper. It was in a moment so private and so shocking. It left her questioning everything she thought she knew about Meghan. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the earliest whispers of pregnancy rumors and the timeline surrounding Archie's birth, revealing the first cracks in the story that the public has always believed. The whispers started long before Archie was born. Whispers that suggested everything the world thought it knew about Meghan's pregnancies might not be the whole truth. When a celebrity becomes a public figure, the media scrutinizes every move, every appearance, every Instagram post. And for Meghan Markle, this scrutiny was multiplied 100-fold once she entered the royal family. Every smile, every outfit, every casual gesture became a headline. But amid all the flashbulbs and news cycles, there existed a private world, a world of rumors that only those closest to Meghan could glimpse. McKee Zajfen was one of the few witnesses to that world. According to her, the whispers about Meghan's pregnancies didn't begin with tabloids or public speculation. They began quietly, behind closed doors, among friends, confidants, and insiders who noticed details the cameras would never capture. The first whisper. Kelly recalls the earliest hint of something unusual during the weeks surrounding Archie's conception. Meghan, in private conversations, sometimes referenced medical appointments, health protocols, and routines that didn't align with the standard narratives shared publicly. It was subtle, just a mention of timing, doctor's visits, or energy levels. But to Kelly, it raised questions. Even then, Kelly said, I felt like I was only seeing part of the picture. Something didn't fit, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I trusted Meghan, and I knew she had reasons for her privacy. But as the months passed, more inconsistencies appeared. Conversations with staff, glimpses of schedules, and odd moments during social gatherings began to paint a picture that didn't match the public narrative. The public versus private story. To the world, Meghan's pregnancy with Archie followed the expected path. Announcements were made, media coverage exploded, and royal fans celebrated. But Kelly says that behind the scenes, there were unexplained gaps. Certain hospital visits that seemed inconsistent with the official timeline. Private conversations where Meghan spoke about care and preparation in ways that hinted at arrangements outside a traditional pregnancy. Friends who noticed subtle changes in Meghan's behavior, emotional spikes, and moments of guarded secrecy. Kelly emphasizes that these were never reckless or obvious signs. They were subtle, almost invisible, but patterns formed, and patterns don't lie. Rumors that reached Kelly. According to Kelly, she first heard whispers from multiple sources, friends, colleagues, and staff, who suggested that Meghan might not be experiencing pregnancy in the conventional sense. Some suggested surrogacy. Others mentioned IVF complications or even unconventional medical arrangements. What made it striking wasn't the rumor itself, it was how carefully people tiptoed around it. Meghan's team, aware of media sensitivity and public scrutiny, avoided confirming or denying anything. And that silence, according to Kelly, was deafening. You could feel it. Kelly recalls. People were walking on eggshells. They wanted to protect her, but also, something else was at play. Something no one dared to put into words. Contradictions in public reporting. Media outlets reported Meghan's pregnancies in glowing detail. Dates, hospital visits, baby showers, and even nursery setups. Yet Kelly noticed contradictions between what was publicly reported and what she observed firsthand. Apparent discrepancies in hospital timelines. Conflicting statements from people involved in the preparations. Odd gaps in photos or appearances that didn't align with the official story. These contradictions, she says, were never malicious. They were the result of careful curation, secrecy, and the enormous pressure of maintaining a perfect public image. But the inconsistencies were there, and Kelly could see them more clearly than anyone else outside the inner circle. Emotional stakes and human drama. The stakes weren't just factual, they were deeply emotional. Kelly describes a Meghan who was simultaneously protective, anxious, and determined. She wanted to shield her children, her privacy, and her family from public scrutiny, yet she also carried the weight of living a public life that demanded openness. It created tension in her inner circle. Friends and confidants felt the pressure of navigating secrets while maintaining loyalty. Kelly, in particular, felt torn. How do you honor your friends' trust while recognizing that the story the public believes may not be true?